Right, Nathaniel, over to your right. Hey, how you doing? First one, I just wanted to check in with you. Obviously, the last time we saw you fight was in Manchester. It was an emotional win for you, and you had, there was a lot of things going on in your life going into that fight and around that fight. I just wanted to check in, see how things have been for you since then, and how things are for you now.
Things are good and bad. So this fight camp's been great. The last 8 weeks have been great. Before that, there's about a month where it was really bad and stuff. And if anything, I think that the fight camps helped me get focused. Obviously when I've got a job at hand and I can focus on it, kind of takes other distractions away. So, it's been about 50-50, but the fight camp itself, which obviously was the most important part in getting ready for today, that's been amazing.
Great. And fighting in your hometown, you're probably the most local fighter on the card, right? In terms of where you live and train. So, how much of a boon has it been for you to know that you're fighting right here? You've got your home fans here, and you're training just around the corner.
Oh, it's massive. I get to literally sleep in my own bed. I can just, this morning I walked the dog. Then I played with my daughter for a bit, saw my wife. So, yeah, it's definitely a luxury fighting at home, and I guess that gives me a slight advantage. Definitely in the mindset, having the hometown crowd, literally being 40 minutes from the venue, just being able to rock up, fight, go home, have a cup of tea, that's a bit of me. So, it's definitely a luxury advantage.
And two former Cage Warriors champions are going at it this weekend. Obviously, different weight classes. Obviously, you were bantamweight at the time. Morgan, former featherweight champion. Is this a fight that you've always kind of had on your radar, that think the UFC could book this at some point further down the line, given the way you both come up through the ranks and now the fact you're in the same weight class together?
I don't think it has crossed my mind too much. Once London got announced and I obviously put my name forward, etc., I kind of thought would make sense, because I look at the sort of the rankings, if you like. I see everyone's booked. I'm kind of keeping up to what they're doing. Morgan's only a couple of hours away from France, so to me it makes sense. But it hadn't been something on my mind until 10 weeks ago.
And what do you make of Morgan? He's obviously had a good run in Cage Warriors, has a lot of vocal support. I'm sure he's going to have a big pocket of rowdy fans somewhere in the O2 on Saturday. But what do you make of him as a fighter and how he's made his way up through the ranks and now into the UFC?
I've not got a bad word to say about him. We've got each other on Instagram. I like the guy. I feel like he's very similar to me in the sense where if you look at him, I'd say he's a striker, but he's also got very high-level grappling. He's 29 years old. I'm 31. He's got 20 wins. I've got 20 wins. Cage Warriors champion. It's very similar. So I feel like maybe I'm fighting someone that's on the same sort of journey as me. Obviously Daniel Pineda was a lot older, a lot more experienced, so he had advantages in some areas, but then disadvantages in other. With Morgan, I just think it's very similar stylistically.
Given all those similarities, where do you think the key differences lie and where the key edge sits for yourself?
Definitely in the speed, if we're going off physical attributes. Going up a weight, obviously everyone's going to be slightly stronger than me, but they're not going to be faster. So the way I look at it is fighting at bantamweight, I was always the same as everyone else because we all cut the same amount of weight. Now, going up a weight, I'm at a disadvantage in the strength, but I'm at an advantage in the speed. So if I fight my fight and how I'm supposed to, I think I'm going to be too quick for him. And I don't know what his mindset's like, but I know that my mindset right now is bulletproof, especially fighting in London as well. So those are the two biggest advantages that I would say that I've got in my arsenal. But that's not an insult to him because I'm sure he is very motivated as well. But yeah, I know that mindset right now is in a good place to fight.
Just a light-hearted one to finish from me. You did a cracking video with Brad, fraud-checking WWE moves in real-life situations. If you were going to predict the most likely WWE move that you could pull on Fight Night on Saturday night, what do you think it would be?
I think I'll go for the choke slam. That's got to be the easiest one to get a hold of, maybe. Kind of.
Great stuff. Thanks a lot, mate.
Thank you.
Nathaniel, right here. You're having your second child. When you found out about the second child, did it come with any extra emotions after the difficulty with the first child?
No, so we was ready to go again. Didn't expect it to happen that quick. It must have been the first time, so it's nice to know that I've got good swimmers. But yeah, you know, it's a real eye opener now. I've got two. Well, I've got a child already, now I've got another one on the way. So if you said this to me a couple of years ago, I would have thought you was crazy. But yeah, found out yesterday having a little girl. So they say real men produce girls. I've got two now coming. So I'm buzzing. You know, it's really, to me, my mission in life now is to just bring my kids up to be the best people I can in Earth, you know. So I still want to be UFC champion of the world, but that's not my first and foremost goal anymore. So my life has kind of changed and changed for the better.
Would you let your daughters go into fighting, like, as a career?
Absolutely not. But they will 100% have to train. You know, that's going to be mandatory that you need to go, learn how to defend yourself. You don't have to spar. I don't ever want you to compete. But I want to know that my daughters can handle themselves, you know, in a one-on-one live situation.
And your endeavors outside of the cage with the Prospect Academy, Prospect Apparel, those things are all well documented. How important is it, do you think, for fighters and athletes to build that outside of the main profession?
I think it's one of the most important things they should do because this sport is so short and with injuries, etc. And a lot of people, we don't have things necessary to fall back on, you know. So it's either go back on a building site or try and set some things up that I can whilst I'm fighting. So, you know, as you say, with the Prospect Academy and the apparel, I can't retire on them yet. But hopefully in 5 years' time or whenever I decide to retire, they're earning me enough money to, you know, be able to live a comfortable life and provide for my girls. So obviously the plan is to make millions and millions fighting, but you've also got to be realistic as well and just plan for the future.
Thank you.
Nathaniel over here. Welcome. This fight has been an early, fight of the night contender. It's been picked as that. What do you think, like, a sort of a bonus winning performance could take you? Where do you think that could take you in your career?
So I definitely think a good win, confidently, not a back and forth, you know, split decision, would put me in the shot of getting a ranked opponent in the top 15. But if I'm honest, I have no intentions whatsoever about rankings anymore. I don't care for it. You know, it really means nothing to me whatsoever. I know where I belong in the world, and I believe that I'm one of the best fighters on the planet. And because some guy decided to put me at 20 or 25 or whatever I am, that doesn't change my outlook on it. So, you know, I think rankings are great to build up for a title shot, but until you're in the top 5, what does top 15, 14, 13 mean, you know? So if the UFC offered me tomorrow anyone in that top 15, I'll take it with both arms. But at the moment, I just want exciting fights, and Morgan is an exciting fight. So, yeah, I think this is the best fight that I could have got out of rankings. But, yeah, as I say now, I'm kind of past really caring about that. I just want to fight as often as I can and have exciting fights that people remember.
You're the hometown boy. Morgan's going to probably bring, like, a cult following. There's going to be, you know, two sides of the crowd. Are you going there to tear the house down?
Yeah, of course. I've always got to... I'm not the only London fighter anymore. Now I've got my teammate, Lonnie Kavanagh, but I always feel like I'm the one representing, being the only London guy usually on these cards. So, obviously, I'm undefeated in the O2. So, you know, on Saturday, I plan to remain undefeated.
You say there's no bad blood. Is that post-fight pint still on?
It is. If I'm honest, I don't really drink beer, though. So a cup of tea would be better for me. But, yeah, no, there's no bad blood. You know, as Brad Pickett said once before, I don't need to hate someone to punch them in the face. You know, we can... it's a sport at the end of the day, and it's a harsh one, but it's a play sport. You know, we're play fighting. This isn't real life. So, for me, this is fun.
Cheers, mate.
Nave, just to talk about the rankings a minute, we spoke the other day and you mentioned again about the rankings and the people deciding the rankings. I'm just curious, from a fighter's perspective, how interested or excited would you be about Dana White's idea of introducing AI rankings?
If I'm honest, when I've heard about that Dana White thing, I I don't really know what it means. So maybe it's the computers now deciding where we're ranked. But yeah, as I say, to me, it's all opinionated. You know, yesterday I think I saw Max Holloway on Tapology's ranked 18th at featherweight in the world. How's that work out? You know, so yeah, we've been moved down, I think, now to 28th, and I haven't even fought. So, you know, the rankings are always just moving. But I don't think people should look at rankings as a way of seeing how skilled you are. Because if that was the case, then Morgan's not got a chance against me. I'm 20 fights ranked above him. But yeah, it's just a guideline, I think. And obviously, if it makes your money, get your money up, then, you know, it's worth doing. But life's too short for me to be worried about rankings anymore. You know, I'm just here to get as many fights as I can and just try and stay active. That's what's most important.
Yeah, and just one more from me. The division's in a bit of a state of flux at the minute with Supportive vacating and moving up. I know you've said that you think the belt might move around a bit now, and I just want to dial in on that fight coming up with Volkanovski and Lopez. Who do you see winning and why and how?
I think Lopez is going to win it, even though I would love Volkanovski to win again. I just think that maybe now the time's kind of come, you know, for Volkanovski on that decline. And then I think after Lopez gets it, I think maybe Musva's going to get it. So yeah, I just think it's going to be bounced about for a while, if I'm honest.
Hi, can you just predict the fight for you on Saturday night? And do you think it's the type of fight who get a bonus at the end of the night?
If it's a bonus, ideally I want a performance of the night bonus. I don't want a back and forth war. I want to hit and not get hit. You know, I want to try and not break my nose any more than I already have. And I need to obviously win confidently. So I think it's going to be more of a striking bout, but I do think there's going to be a few takedowns mixed in it. And obviously I see myself getting my hand raised.
A plan like striking, punch, kick, something?
Say that again, sorry?
Do you see something precisely?
In my head, yeah, but I'm not going to say it. Yeah.
Thanks and good luck.
Thank you.